My name is Dr. Sheikh Mahmood, and I've completed my MSc from Bangalore University, and I was a university rank student. And I've completed my B.Ed, PhD from Tumkur University. And today we're gonna discuss about sexual reproduction in flowering plants. This chapter in boards is for 8 marks. One 5-mark question and one 3-mark question will be asked from this particular chapter. So we will start by talking about pre-fertilization events. That is, what exactly is going to happen before fertilization. Let us check out by drawing the structures and analyzing the structures of reproductive part in flowering plants. We will start with anther. Now, what exactly is anther? We have already discussed in first PU part in a chapter known as Morphology of Flowering Plants that anther is actually male reproductive part. We call it as androecium. Now, this androecium, if we take cross section of this, we actually find some specific details. But as we studied in first PU part, in 11th standard part, that this particular androecium has got some peculiar feature or specific features. What are those specific features? Let us try to analyze it. The so-called androecium or anther is bilobed. What exactly does this term bilobed mean? See, if I show you my 2 fingers together, you see 2 lobes over here. Lobe number 1, lobe number 2. Okay. Since we have 2 lobes, this kind of condition is also seen in anthers. We call it as bilobed condition. Then these 2 lobes have got 2 theca layers. The same example. Now these 2 fingers, if you see that from this angle there is one separating part and from the other angle I have another separating part. This separating layer is known as theca. Since we have 2 theca layers, this condition is known as dithecous. Bilobed dithecous condition. Now, if we actually observe inside details, it is tetrasporangiate. With respect to neat, not every plant will actually have bilobed or dithecous or tetrasporangiate nature. There is a plant which is quite famously available, like quite commonly available, called as hibiscus. Now, if we see the characteristic feature of hibiscus, the so-called hibiscus plant will have monolobed, monothecous and bisporangiate condition. It is a peculiar feature with respect to neat point that we need to know that hibiscus is a plant which has got monolobed, single lobe, with only one theca layer, one separating layer is there, and there are 2 sporangium layers, okay, 2 sporangium bags. We will draw the anther and analyze the details. The first and foremost 5-mark question which can be asked in board exam with respect to what is this chapter is, draw a cross section of anther or draw TS, transverse section of an anther. How to draw? Drawing is important. Scientifically, diagram should be true, but labeling is more important in our syllabus. According to pre-university board, here they don't give you marks for diagram at all. They give you marks for labeling. So you need to remember that labeling should be precisely being done. Let us try to understand how to draw this first. If I take cross section of an anther, I see an butterfly-like structure. Please try to understand the technique how to draw this particular diagram. You draw a butterfly-like structure. From inside, draw one layer exactly parallel to the previous line. One line from inside and one line or one layer from outside. Okay. Then within this we will draw 4 bags or sacs. I'm repeating again, you don't get marks for diagram, rather you get marks for labeling. So labeling should be very precise over here. What are the layers? See, I've taken cross section of an anther, then I'm trying to observe. Outermost wall layer is known as epidermis. Name itself is telling you that this particular layer is outermost. Epi means above, derm means skin. Outermost skin is actually known as epidermis. Followed by this, we have endothecium. What exactly is endothecium? See, endothecium is a layer which is just present beneath epidermis, just below epidermis. There is a layer called as endothecium. This particular endothecium layer is the one which is helping in dehiscence or breakdown of anther, dehiscing or removal of pollen grain from the part where it will cut is known as endothecium. Okay. Now followed by this, we have middle layer. Okay. Middle layer is actually present beneath endothecium, responsible in storage of food. Okay. Within this bag-like structure has got layers. The layer which is covering around sporangium is known as tapetum. Some teachers would pronounce it as tapetum. It's okay. Tapetum is actual name. That is allowed because we are from South India. So we will, allow such kind of things to go on. So tapetum is actually a layer which will provide nourishment, nutrition. Okay. Then within this, finally you have got sporogenous tissue. Now what exactly is sporogenous tissue? It is this tissue which is actually gonna develop into pollen grains, male gametophyte. Okay? I did not call anther as male gametophyte. I am calling pollen as male gametophyte. This is an important neat question. Okay? See, gametophyte means what? Gamete carrying body. Anther is spore carrying body. So we call it as sporangium, spore carrying bag. Whereas pollen carrying bag is pollen grain. So it is gametophyte. So pollen grain is gametophyte, anther is sporangium. Now, what exactly is the inner detail? See, PU board people are not so, easy to go people. They'll not give you such a laddu question in examination. Just draw, this diagram and get 5 marks. It is not so easy. Okay? What we need to understand over here is, they'll ask you to draw this diagram and also explain. But before I explain this particular image, we will enlarge any one part. Say I'll enlarge this particular part. Okay? And understand what exactly is characteristic feature of the cells. Anatomy characters. I told you that outermost wall layer is known as epidermis. Epidermis is made up of barrel-shaped cells. Barrel shape, drum like, rectangular shape. Okay. Just beneath epidermis, I have U-shaped cells. Now, outermost wall layer is known as what? Epidermis. Within epidermis, we have endothecium. endothecium. Now, before I draw middle layer, I would like to draw one more rectangular shaped cell layer called as tapetum. The one what I have represented as a blue layer over here is tapetum, which is again having rectangular shaped cells. Between this tapetum and endothecium, you have polygonal cells. These polygonal shaped cells are known as middle layer. Now, middle layer can be from 2 layers to 5 layers. In majority of the books, you get 2 to 3 layered condition. Okay? So, middle layer is there between tapetum and endothecium. Followed by this, inside rectangular shaped cells is known as a layer called as tapetum. Characteristic feature of tapetum is it is always having more than one nucleus. Every time there is more than one nucleus. If you talk about neat characters of this particular tapetum, there are many. I will explore one by one. I'll explore every character, but one of the neat point which is to be specified over here is it is binucleate. Minimum 2 nucleus will be there. Never you see single nucleus condition. Always there is more than one nucleus in this particular group. Followed by this, final tissue which is there inside is known as sporogenous tissue. It is this particular tissue which is gonna develop into so-called pollen grains. So I have enlarged this much part and shown you over here. So what is this layer known as? It is known as tapetum. This tissue is known as sporogenous tissue. So the layer names are important, and we should also know the so-called importance of each layer. Now, let us talk about one extra character. See, if we talk about so-called cross-section of an anther, if you get less labelings at that time, you can add one more layer over here and name it as connective. Okay. So these are the names being given to the different layers. Now, as I told you, PU board people will not give you such an easy laddu to eat. They will ask you to explain. Okay? So 5 marks is not so easy to obtain. So how to explain? It is not even difficult. Very simple diagram is there. Now you need to explain each layer. Fine. As I told you, in boards they'll ask you draw a neat label diagram of microsporangium or anther, and then they'll ask you to explain. Diagram we have already drawn. Let us try to explain how to write, how to fetch complete 5 marks without missing even half a mark. Okay. The very first thing that you will write is those character what I told you of anther. Anther is bilobed, dithecous, tetrasporangiate. After writing that, write side heading as epidermis. As I told you earlier, what is epidermis? It is outermost layer. Okay. Epi means above, derm means skin. I am repeating this. Epi means above, derm means skin. The outermost layer is responsible for what? What is the skin doing from outside? It is protecting. So next point under this is it provides protection. Okay. Epidermis is outermost layer and provides protection. This is for boards. For NEET, always in classroom I used to use right hand side part, especially for NEET. Even here I am using it. Okay. Now for NEET, if we try to analyze, epidermis is outermost skin, it provides protection. The diagram what I had drawn over here, the characteristic feature that I showed you over here is they have barrel shaped cells. Okay. Outermost layer has got barrel shaped cells. Next point is endothecium. What is the characteristic feature of endothecium? See, this particular layer is just present beneath epidermis. First point is, it is present beneath epidermis. Second point is, as I told you in explanation, that it helps in dehiscence of anther, breakdown of anther. So anther breaks up, the wall layer breaks up, and then from inside pollen grains are released. This phenomena is known as dehiscence of anther. From where does pollen grain dehisce? It is from theca layer. So theca layer is the one which is actually helping in breaking of anther. Okay. Now, whatever I write in blue color in this region, it is exclusively for NEET, not for boards. Whatever I am writing this side is exclusively for boards. Next is middle layer. Now, as I told you, middle layer is 2 to 3 layered cells. Now, in this 2 to 3 layered cells, what we observe is you have parenchyma cells. What is characteristic feature of parenchyma? If you remember anatomy of flowering plants, there we had discussed that parenchyma is a tissue which is responsible for storage of food and water. In case of cross section of an anther, food and water stores itself in this particular layer called as middle layer. Okay? Then followed by this, you talk about tapetum. What is tapetum? It is innermost wall layer. This innermost wall layer is looking very simple but performs maximum functions. Like there are two linings even in our body. One is outer lining, epidermis. Second one is inner lining, which is there from inside. From inside we all are hollow. So inside lining is also very important. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, these organisms, when they penetrate through your food, they're gonna affect the inside part. Okay? And during accident cases also, internal bleeding is quite dangerous, cannot be cured easily. So internal, safety is also important. This particular layer is the innermost wall layer and will perform maximum functions. First and foremost function is innermost wall layer helps in providing nourishment. Nourishment to developing pollen grains. In other words, nourishment is being provided to sporogenous tissue because inside layer is sporogenous tissue. This is with respect to boards. But when I talk about NEET, there is a list that we need to specify with respect to tapetum. Let us try to analyze. The first character I told you previously also is that it is usually having more than one nucleus. Either it is binucleate or it can have more than one nucleus. First point. Second point is it will produce Ubish body. What is this Ubish body? See, Ubish body is seen on pollen grain. The outermost layer of pollen grain will have one sunscreen-like layer. That sunscreen-like layer is known as Ubish body. You must have seen cricket players. They apply one white color sunscreen before they go to play test match, because throughout the day they have to stay in the field and they get exposed to the sunlight. And the sunlight, early morning is having what you say mild light. But as the day goes on, the intensity of light is quite high, during which ultraviolet ray, UV ray, will penetrate into the Earth's surface. If you have studied about global warming, you know that global warming is a phenomena where surface temperature slowly increases. It is because of UV ray. Okay? Now, ultraviolet ray is not just increasing the temperature of the Earth. If it directly penetrates into the skin, it will cause cancer. Not to worry, people who are like me, dim in color, these people will not have skin cancer. Why? Because we have more of melanin. Ultraviolet rays can never penetrate into our skin and cause harm. Okay? But people who are very fair, say Australian people, Brett Lee, or cricket players, these people are very fair. They need to be very careful, because melanin content is less, sun ray can directly penetrate, it can cause mutation and lead to cancer. So people who are fair, they need to make sure that they apply sunscreen before moving out. So to protect pollen grain, similarly, to protect pollen grain, the so-called Ubish body is being applied by a layer known as tapetum. Why? Sunscreen. Ultraviolet ray should not penetrate inside and cause mutation. This is the reason why Ubish body is produced in the so-called pollen grain. Now, followed by this, see, you all know that insects will visit flowers. What for? They actually go to flowers in search of nectar. But when they go to one flower and then reach out next flower, they also help in carrying pollen grain from one flower, and then they apply this pollen grain onto stigma of another flower. That means they are acting like an pollinator, agent who is helping in transfer of pollen grain from one flower to another flower. To create sticky nature on pollen grain, to create one gel-like structure, mucilaginous structure on pollen grain, we see that the so-called pollen kit is also applied on pollen grain by tapetum. So a jelly substance or mucilaginous substance has been applied. Like how we have saliva, a jelly substance, a liquid which is quite thicker. So a thick liquid is applied on pollen grain, making sure that whenever any pollinator enters the flower, it will actually attach pollen grain to itself. Then it will go to some other flower, and there it will transfer this pollen grain. Followed by this. See, it also produces one carbohydrate called as callose. Okay. This callose is gonna keep 4 cells together. Which 4 cells? I'll talk about that in next topic. Okay. But just for time being, remember that callose is a carbohydrate which is gonna keep 4 microspore cells together. 4 cells. One cell, when it is dividing by meiosis, it's gonna give rise to 4 cells. All these 4 cells are being held together with the help of a carbohydrate called as callose, produced by whom? Tapetum. And the same callose is further broken down by an enzyme called as callase, which is also been produced by tapetum. Okay? So this is characteristic feature of so-called tapetum. Very important for our NEET exam. Okay? You cannot afford to miss even a single point in this. Now, moving ahead, we have sporogenous tissue. What exactly is sporogenous tissue? It is this tissue which is there within those minute sacs called as microsporangium. ठीक है. There were 4 microsporangium, that is why we called it as tetrasporangiate, and it is this tissue which is gonna develop into pollen grain. So in examination, when they ask you, draw a neat label diagram of cross section of an anther and explain, at that time first draw a neat diagram with labeling. If you do not label, you don't get marks. After that, write side headings and just write two sentences in front of that, you get full marks. So first 5 marks is in your pocket. Okay? So this is about cross section of an anther. Now let us try to analyze how is this anther developing. The process of development of anther is known as microsporogenesis. Let us try to analyze this particular structure now. Okay, the process of development of pollen grain is known as microsporogenesis. Now we're gonna talk how does this anther actually develop. Now, imagine that there is a plant over here. This plant has got nodes, region from where lateral branches are gonna arise. Initially, there is a small bud that grows at this particular point. Okay? The fate of bud is decided by the hormones released in this particular area. If supposingly you have leafy hormone produced, it's gonna develop into leaf. If it is florigen hormone produced, it's gonna develop into flower. Now we will imagine that there is florigen hormone depositing in this area. So this region or this layer is now gonna develop into a structure called as flower. Okay? When it is developing into a flower, initially, here there are some mass of cells which are being formed, which is known as archisporial mother cell. Okay? I am writing in blue, which means that it is for neat. Okay? Archisporial mother cell. This particular archisporial mother cell, which is being formed in the bud, is gonna divide into 2 daughter cells by a process known as mitosis. So through mitosis, that is equational cell division, archisporial mother cell will form primary sporogenous tissue and on the other side we see primary parietal cell. Primary sporogenous tissue and primary parietal cell. Now, this sporogenous tissue is the one which is gonna form pollen grain. If you remember, in cross section of anther we already discussed. What is function of primary parietal layer? This primary parietal layer is the one which will form 4 wall layers of anther. Can you specify which are the 4 wall layers of anther? If I'm not wrong, the thing which is going on in your mind right now is that outermost layer is known as epidermis. Then you have endothecium. Then you have middle layer. Followed by this, you have tapetum. So 4 wall layers of anther originate from which cell? It is known as primary parietal cell. For neat also you can note this point. It is for boards as well as neat, both together. ठीक है, तो 4 wall layers of anther are gonna develop from a cell known as primary parietal cell, which will develop from initial mother cell known as archisporial mother cell. How about this side? The so-called sporogenous tissue is now gonna develop into a cell known as MMC. What is MMC over here? Since we are talking about microsporogenesis, this particular cell is known as microspore mother cell. So primary sporogenous cell or primary sporogenous tissue is gonna develop into MMC, that is microspore mother cell. This microspore mother cell is gonna divide by meiosis. What exactly happens in meiosis? If you recall, one cell is gonna divide to form 4 daughter cells. So this cell initially is diploid, it is dividing by mitosis, which means even here we have so-called diploid cells. The 4 wall layers are formed again by mitosis, which means epidermis, endothecium, middle layer, tapetum. All these cells are diploid in its nature. But when meiosis happens, MMC, which is diploid in its nature, is gonna divide by meiosis and form 4 daughter cells. These 4 daughter cells are being held together by a carbohydrate called as callose. Hopefully you remember what is callose and which layer produces callose. Yes, you guessed it right. It is tapetum, which is gonna produce a carbohydrate called as callose. Okay? All the 4 cells are known as microspores. Why? Because they develop from microspore mother cell. One mother cell or ammi cell gave rise to daughter cells, and these daughter cells are known as microspores. These microspores over here, since they are held together, we call it as microspore tetrad or pollen tetrad. Microspore tetrad or pollen tetrad. Now, it is like a carbohydrate layer keeping all of them together. And I also told you that this carbohydrate layer is being broken down by an enzyme produced by the same layer known as callase. So later on, callase is the one which will break all the 4 cells together. It's like your grandfather had got 4 children. When he is on deathbed, what father will tell is, don't fight, always remain together, never separate even after my death. These are the instructions what grandfather will give it to your dad and your uncles. Taken? What is that? That is callose. Grandfather is callose, keeping all the 4 sons together till his death. But once he dies, he himself created problem, that is property. Okay? So property disputes will happen between the kids and all of them are gonna get separated. Okay? So here callose kept all the 4 microspore tetrad together, but same tapetum will produce an enzyme which will make sure that all the 4 cells get separated. Okay? So callase will separate them. Once they get separated, each cell is gonna form pollen grain. Okay? So each cell is gonna develop into pollen grain. Now we talk about characteristic feature of pollen grain. Now, the first 3-mark question that can be asked in your board examination till now is draw a neat label diagram of pollen grain and explain its character or explain the structure. Okay? How exactly does pollen grain look like? See, pollen grain has got 2 layers. Andar wala layer, inside layer is known as intine, Chanda Mama type, moon type, intine. Okay? And the outer wall layer is Suraj Chacha. Looks like a sun. So inner wall layer is known as intine, outer wall layer is known as exine. The so-called exine layer is also developed by tapetum. So many works are being done by single, wall layer. There are some people who will be like that, like multitasking. They'll do every work. So exine is also being formed by whom? Tapetum. So tapetum does many works. So here, exine layer, what are the characters or attributes of exine layer? This particular layer is made up of a chemical called as sporopollenin. Very important layer. You know why? Because it is this layer which is the reason for availability of fossil pollen grain even to this day. Why? Because the so-called sporopollenin is the most resistant biological molecule produced in the plant. Okay? Most resistant substance. One of the most resistant substance means what? It doesn't get degraded by any acids, nor by any base, nor by any enzymes, neither by any temperature. So there is no way that you can destroy this particular region. So exine is made up of special chemical called as sporopollenin, and this sporopollenin is one of the most resistant substance because there is no acid, no alkaline or no base, or there is no enzyme which is gonna degrade this particular layer. Since it cannot be degraded or it cannot be destroyed, this particular layer is available even to this day in the fossils. What is fossil? Fossil is not the person who is there in your street. Right? That fossil is different, this fossil is different. Right? Fossil is age-old plant. Like paleontology is a branch which talks about age-old phenomena. Okay? You excavate old regions or areas which are like quite historic in its features. When we excavate, at that time we find some pollen grains. Those pollen grains are still alive, although they belong to more than 1,000 years or 2,000 years or 3,000 years or even 10,000 years. They are still resistant and they are not being destroyed. What is the reason behind this? It is because of this chemical known as sporopollenin. Moving ahead, the so-called next layer which is there inside is known as intine. What is intine made up of? Intine is made up of a chemical called as cellulose and pectin. We call this as pectocellulosic in nature. Okay? Pectocellulosic in nature, which means pectin and cellulose together is there in this layer. It is this layer which is actually living in a pollen grain. Okay? Let us try to analyze intine layer. In intine, we have an elliptical cell. Elliptical means what? The structures which appear like your lips or your eye, tapering from either ends and broad from the center. Right? Even lips, if you observe, they are broad from the center and tapering from either end. So similarly, you have elliptical shaped cell called as generative cell. Then Towards upper side, you have very large cell with irregular shaped nucleus. Here you see a quite small decent nucleus, but in this you find a large nucleus which is odd in its shape, okay, which is amorphous, or it is not having proper structure. Okay? So this cell is known as vegetative cell. So vegetative cell and generative cell, these are the two cells being present within pollen grain. Now when pollen grain is released from a flower, like how Amresh Puri released Kajal, Ja Simran Ja Ji Le Apni Zindagi. Likewise, here we have pollen grain being released from anther. When pollen grains are released from the anther, Ja Ji Le Apni Zindagi, 60% of angiosperms will show you two-celled condition like this. So 60% of angiosperms release pollen grain in two-celled condition. Whereas 30 to 40% of angiosperm release pollen grain in three-celled condition. Two-celled and three-celled conditions are being observed. Okay? Which is the third cell now? Suddenly there is one more cell arising, although I had shown you only two cells. Point to be noted. Here, vegetative cell is gonna form pollen tube. Generative cell is actual male nucleus or male gamete. Since I am writing in blue, it denotes what? Need point. Okay? So, male gamete, actual male gamete is nothing but generative cell. And we all know from first PU part, there is one phenomena known as double fertilization, what we will discuss again in second PUC part. So, according to double fertilization, two male gametes are gonna fuse with two female gametes. When you have two male gametes fusing with two female gametes, this process is known as double fertilization, discovered by Navasachin. Okay? So, Navasachin discovered this phenomena, which means there should be two male gametes. How is second male gamete formed? It is by mitosis of this cell, they form two cells. So, generative cell will divide and form two cells. So, totally how many cells are there now? 1, 2, 3. One important need point which is specified in the textbook also is that there are some families like grass family. What is grass family known as? It is known as Graminaceae or Poaceae. In Graminaceae and Poaceae, the character is that pollen grain is released in three-celled condition. Whenever pollen grain is released in three-celled condition, it is emergency ambulance situation. Okay? They'll put a siren on the ambulance and take this pollen grain, put it onto the stigma. Within 30 minutes, if pollen grain of grass family is not falling onto the stigma, then this pollen grain will die. Supposingly, if we talk about Leguminaceae, dal family, all dals that you are eating belong to Leguminaceae. Okay? Solanaceae, maximum vegetables belong to this. Bhindi, then you talk about tomato, potato, brinjal belong to this particular family. Okay? Then you have Rosaceae. Oh, rose is very important. Right? There is one auspicious day on which people give rose. Right? So, Rosaceae, Solanaceae, Leguminaceae. These members will produce pollen grain in two-celled condition. This is absent, two-cell condition. When they release it in two-cell condition, this pollen grain can live for 6 months without any problem. Okay? This is about pollen grain. Now, so those were the characteristic feature of pollen grain. But that doesn't complete all characters. Now, see, pollen grain is what exactly? It is male gametophyte, which is carrying male gamete. Male sperm is there within pollen grain in angiosperms. Here, the so-called male gamete is important because you can get genetic variability. We all know from the previous chapter that whenever organism reproduces sexually, it's gonna develop mixed character in the individual, right? Like, we all are the best example. We humans reproduce sexually, because of which we have mixed character of both mother as well as father. We all are chochobads, mixture of kharabad and kesribad, mom and dad mixed together. Both the characters are seen on our body. Here, pollen grain carries half the character in the organism. So that is very important to develop an hybrid. How to develop an hybrid and what are the processes, that we will study in a chapter known as Strategies for Enhancement of Food Production. Here, we need to know the importance of pollen grain. See, the so-called pollen grain is used as a food supplement. What exactly does this food supplement mean? It is eaten up as a food. Okay? How? What for? The so-called food which is being eaten up is for energy source. The pollen grain also acts like an energy source. You can experience this. Take hibiscus flower, dust pollen grain in your hand and eat a capsule, filled with pollen grain. You will not believe me, there is one, shopping app called as Amazon.com. Okay? In Amazon.com, you can type pollen capsules. They are commercially available. Rather, you can prepare it by yourself and eat. Why are people eating pollen capsules? As soon as we eat pollen capsule, it gives us feeling of Shaktiman karke bol ke. Okay? Why? Because this particular pollen grain will enhance the cellular effect. Metabolic rate increases in our body. Athletes, racing horses. So, athletes and racing horses are being fed with pollen capsule before they perform. Why? To make sure that they perform better. Okay? Here, the so-called sports is a place where people use pollen grain or pollen capsules. Now, followed by this, the so-called pollen grain is also used for hybridization experiments. So, that one I am writing in blue, which is meaning that it is not for board, it is for, so-called need. So, hybrids, to generate hybrids. Half number of chromosomes are there in pollen grain, so you can use it for generating a new variety. Then, it is not like pollen grains are very much, commercially important always. There is one plant called as carrot grass, also known as Parthenium. Parthenium is scientific name. Carrot grass is a common name. We also call it as Congress plant. This particular carrot grass or Parthenium plant is one of the most notorious plant. It causes major problems. See, this plant was brought to India in a gunny bag carrying wheat when it was being imported from America. So when wheat was imported from America, at that time, there is one ornamental plant being present in America called as Parthenium. This is an ornamental plant. Ornamental plant means what? Show plant. This show plant is very good over there. But when it will leave one country and come to another country, it will show its color. Okay? Like usually it happens. Students will come from other countries to this country. Wahan pe at their home, they are most decent, most studious, most sincere person. But once they come out, they'll show their colors. This is the right place that I can express. So when this plant was brought to India, it multiplied so fast that it caused problem to other plants. It did not allow other plants to grow normally. Point number one. Secondly, it also causes allergy to other organisms. Pollen of this causes allergy, itching, rashes. Then you have asthma, bronchitis, respiratory disorders are being generated by the pollen grain of this plant. Okay? Extremely allergic. So it causes allergy. Not every plant is economically important or commercially important. Some of the pollen grain in the plants cause problems too. Okay? So this is about what you say pollen grain. Now last part that we will discuss under male reproductive system is, see, since pollen grain are important too, and some families like Solanaceae, Rosaceae, Leguminaceae are economically important. They are needed in day-to-day life. Even grasses are needed in day-to-day life. But the capacity or the viability, livelihood of pollen grain is very less. Since viability of pollen grain is less, in these cases, we need to store them. Because as I told you, in case of grasses, 30 minutes is viability period. In case of Solanaceae, Leguminaceae, Rosaceae, 6 months is the viability period. When you have less viability period and you want to store it for longer time, you want to use this pollen grain for next year or maybe after 10 years, how to store them? We can store them in liquid nitrogen. Yes. What is the temperature of liquid nitrogen? It is minus 196 degrees Celsius. Extremely chilling condition. I have done a project on cryopreservation, so I am specialized in that. So even my research plant is actually being kept in Indian Agriculture Research Institute, IARI, in Hesarghatta. So there what we do is, we will pack pollen grains in an aluminum foil, aluminum bag, seal it up. And then we will place this aluminum bag in liquid nitrogen. What is happening over here? When you place it in liquid nitrogen, extremely low temperature, all metabolic activities will cease. There is no way that there is any reaction occurring in this. Completely all metabolic activities will cease. That is the reason why you can store this pollen grain for a very long time, years together. Trust me, I had placed my pollen grain in this particular place in 2011. It's almost 9 years now. If I go now and take out those pollen grain and then place them onto the stigma of another plant or on Aperculana plant or this on the same plant, it will germinate there. It is becoming alive after 9 years. Why is that so? How is it so? It is because all metabolic activities were ceased. So that completes the characteristic feature of anther. Then we talked about structure, then finally microsporogenesis and pollen development. Thank you. Please subscribe our YouTube channel and also like and please do comment, and we will be appreciating if you spread over. Okay? And I am a biology faculty from this particular academy. I have been teaching here from past 4 to 5 years, and it is a great place to work. You will enjoy as a student as well as a teacher. Thank you so much.